Hi everyone, welcome to week 11 of our Comp 2 class. This week we're going to be focusing on arguing, synthesizing, and writing a research statement. Once you've developed a focus for writing Project 3, you're going to begin studying argumentation and to clarify what you want to research and what you know about the topic already. For step 1, some sections from, I have a couple of readings here that I'd like you to do. First is arguing a position, which is chapter 13 in the 5th edition book, and then also synthesizing ideas, which is chapter 50 in the 5th edition book. And then I'd also like you to read this essay called The Moral Instinct. Now, as a heads up, this is a pretty long essay, so you want to make sure that you set aside a nice chunk of time to get this done. In step 2, which is thinking about argumentation, I'd like you to consider your position on your topic. If you've not already done so, make sure that you do the readings on arguing a position and synthesizing ideas. Then you're going to write an analysis of the position you wish to argue using the information from the textbook. In each paragraph, I'd like you to number and answer the following questions about your current view on your topic. So first of all, what is your position on the topic? Are you for it, against it, or somewhere in between? Next, what are some potential counter positions on your topic? So in other words, what would the other side of the argument have to say? Or, what are some different perspectives on your issue? Is your argument representative of the status quo? In other words, do most people feel the same way you do about your topic? And why might that be? And then finally, what are some things you could do or say to get your reader to agree with you? Now, this is getting you to think a little bit about, what kind of persuasive approach you're going to take for this project. In step 3, you're going to answer some questions about the essay, The Moral Instinct. Now that you've thought about your position on the topic, let's look at another writer and how they used research to support their point. As you write your first draft for writing Project 3, you'll need to provide an explanation of how the sources you are quoting support your own argument. To prepare for that, you need to answer some questions regarding how another author translated academic research into common language. After reading The Moral Instinct by Steven Pinker, answer the following questions in a paragraph or two each, numbering each response. Number 1, Pinker's essay, published for a general American readership, incorporates the work of scholars and scientists. What techniques does he use to create interest in the question of moral judgments for general readers? Number 2, where does Pinker translate academic research into common language, and where doesn't he? Try to formulate the principle he uses for retaining philosophical language or not. So what are you noticing about the way that he is translating academic research into common language? Are there any trends that you're picking up on? Does there seem to be like a principle or a formula that he's following? Number 3, near the center of the essay is a section titled A Universal Morality. Does Pinker believe that morality is universal, or does he question this concept? How does the remainder of his essay clarify his position? And then finally, for number 4, Pinker's essay was published without footnotes, yet it clearly credits the work of many other philosophers and researchers. Choose one reference to another person's scholarly work, find the article on which it is based, and write a brief discussion of how Pinker paraphrases and/or cites the work. You might consider whether Pinker describes the work accurately or whether he oversimplifies or distorts it. So in other words, track down one of the sources that Pinker uses in his essay and talk about the way in which he is using that source. Do you think he's doing a good job of incorporating this source? Is he treating that source fairly? Or do you think he's oversimplifying it? Is he, not doing a good job of capturing what the original author was trying to say? In step 4, you're going to write a research statement. After you have gathered and reviewed your 10 to 15 outside sources, I'd like you to write a 1 to 2 page summary of your research. So begin with a paragraph summarizing what you found as a whole. What have you gathered so far? This is just kind of in general, what is the research saying? Are people talking about your topic? Have you not been able to find very much? And after this first paragraph, you'll then get a little bit more specific. Next, you'll name the top 3 sources you intend to use, summarizing each one, and then explain why each source is valuable to your paper. Why is it going to be useful, or how do you think you're going to incorporate that source into your paper? In your next paragraph, list 2 to 3 other sources that you found and do the same thing. These can be shorter, weaker, or less important sources compared to your first 3. Finally, I'd like you to end with another short paragraph discussing how much more research you think you still need to do. Is there any information you haven't found yet? Are there any holes in your research? Do you feel like you're done with the research process, or is it ongoing? Step 5 here, you're going to post to the discussion board. You have a couple of posts, one on Thursday, one on Saturday. First of all, for your Thursday post, after completing your research statement, I'd like you to post it to the discussion board as a Microsoft Word file and briefly discuss what challenges you faced in conducting your research. Your second post, you're going to comment on 2 research statements posted by your classmates and answer the following prompts. First of all, does the research look credible to you? Comment on the credibility or lack of it on several of their sources. So take a look at all the sources that they're talking about and talk about whether these sources seem credible or not. Does it seem like they have a good mix of primary and secondary sources? And discuss their planning with them. Does their organizational pattern seem good? Does it seem like they have more research that they need to do? Do the sources seem to line up with what they want to do in this paper? Finally, how similar or different is their planning compared to yours? And that is all for this week. At the end of the week, you're going to submit all the writing that you completed for steps 2 and 3. If you have any questions or need help with anything, feel free to email me and I will help you out the best that I can.